Hello, good morning. Yes. Turn on the microphones, right, LaVern? What's going on? One street over from where you living. I'm in here visiting with my friends, Matt and Christy Driscoll. Hello.
Good morning.
Yay, I was so surprised to see Christy in here. Turn that microphone right there. Lovely. Because I knew Matt was coming, but I wasn't sure that you were going to make it because you're still in, you're working. I mean, we're teachers. We're off this summer. Yeah. Thank you for serving, sister. Thank you both for. Y'all are heroes to me. Let me just kind of unpack that right now. Christy still serves. She's like, Chief Driscoll. Thank you very much. I'm so proud of you. That was the coolest thing ever to get to see you get that rank. I mean, that's cool. And just to see you excel. And and to kind of get a little insight into your very cyber work that you do. And I was just like, ooh, I need to pay attention to what's going on with her. And
you remember all that?
Yeah.
Cyber talk and all.
I mean, just listening to you guys whenever you were going through your, your promotion, it was just cool. I was like, wow. I mean, because, I've mentioned this many times. One of my biggest regrets is I did not serve in the military. I had the opportunities to. I grew up during the Vietnam era, lost a dear friend in Vietnam, so I was a big old chicken because of it. Yeah. And I did not. Mm-hmm. And God had another path. I mean, he had another plan for me, another path. But that's always been one of my biggest regrets is that I did not, because he could have worked my life out any sort of way. But I think, serving in the military is something that I missed out on, that I had a chance to do. And I'm very thankful one of my kids did,
True honor.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, just y'all's family, man. Your dad, your brother, your daughter. I mean, and then Matt, how many years did you serve?
Quite a bit. I kind of lost count a little bit.
So how many years did he serve, Christy? You probably know.
Almost 10.
No, did 11 Navy.
Yeah.
And then another 4 or 5 Guard.
Okay. But nonetheless, I mean, this is a military family and we honor you and appreciate you. And again, still just loving the fact that you're still in there, kicking it. So how long before you get to retire?
Well, I hit 27 years in June. So I'm kind of like in a year now. And
wow.
It's nice to get to 30 so we can shoot for 3 more.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the goal. Oh, I'm praying for you, sister.
Life goes
proud of
so
you.
Fast. I can't
yes,
believe
I know it.
Yeah.
I can't believe this. I've known you guys now forever, it feels like.
Almost 6 years.
Well, we met during COVID is when you and I met.
Yeah.
We started talking.
That's right. I was thinking it was before COVID.
No, it was right during COVID.
It was right as that was approaching because we were still in that studio over there. Yep. It was before Ebenezer Broadcasting purchased us and brought all this together and became a worldwide Christian broadcast company. I love to say that. But, we have our Spanish side and our English side to do, Christian programming. When I go to my mission trip in Mexico, I can hear this down there, y'all. If you haven't figured that out, it's the coolest thing ever. But anyway, and we were in that studio because I remember you came in and started talking about Celebrate Recovery, and I'm like, well, we have recovery programs here in Robertson County. I had no idea the way, the structure of Celebrate Recovery, and then because of COVID, then they were wanting us to work from home, and I was working for church, and I'm like, well, what does that look like? And so I started looking into the Celebrate Recovery program, spending some time with that, and that's how I was spending some of my time. In my home, trying to figure out how we could bring it to our congregation, and there you go.
At your congregation,
we're going on 4 years. It'll be 4 years in the fall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 years.
You guys like a year behind us.
Yeah, 4 years in the fall, and y'all are 5 at Epiphany.
It'll be right this August.
Yeah. So we're coming up on 4 years in the fall. So it's just And I put that in the banner. I put that in there that, because I know anytime we're together, we're going to talk CR because we're all involved in it. And he even wears his Celebrate Recovery shirt. But one of the big thing we really want to touch on and we really want to talk about is Safe Harbor Sanctuary. And I always have to ask you, to get, because this is a nonprofit that you is Safe Harbor Sanctuary the name of your farm, or is it the name of the overall
It's
charity?
Name of the overall nonprofit.
But what do you call your farm?
So my farm we call Winds of Grace.
Say that again.
Winds of Grace.
That's what I was thinking. It had grace in it, so that was the thing. But Safe Harbor Sanctuary is the nonprofit you work with, and you have Winds of Grace where you facilitate.
Yeah, it's just the name. It's just the name of our farm.
So our organization, it's not just one central farm, one central barn. It's a network of farms throughout Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky that foster horses for us.
I love it.
Then, and I'm just one of the farms that's kind of used as a training facility. I do a lot of newcomers orientation there, and then I'm currently fostering one of the horses myself. So
okay, but you have, how many horses do you own yourself?
4.
Yeah. And one of them stomped your foot.
Yeah, bless his heart. Friday night.
That's why she's in the little carty thing.
Yeah, Friday night we just sprayed him. I just took his fly boots off, and I was kind of walking up to do the front foot, and just as that turn, my foot was in the wrong place, and he got me.
Yeah, and it was it just happens.
Yeah,
when
100%. They're 1,000+ animals, but that's a lot of force coming from that hoof. So
you better believe it.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to hurry up and get my chores done before I had to go to the ER, and finally my family member, my dear sister, is like, "Get in the car, we're going."
Oh, bless your heart. I'm so sorry. How bad's the break? Is it just a fracture, or are you going to have surgery?
Looks like it's just a fracture.
It's one of my top bones is broken. I have to go see an orthopedic sometime this week to get another x-ray for them to look at it all.
Just to make sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll pray that that's just a minor thing, and you can get, both good, strong feet under you real soon. But
my dear husband is trying to help out with all my farm chores. He was so funny last night. I was having him help me hose the horses off because it's super hot right now.
Oh yeah.
And so at night, about 8 o'clock, as the sun's going down, I hose him off, and he's like, "We don't do this." I'm like, "Yes, I do this. I do this every summer." So he's been great, but I'm trying to enlist some family members. So if you got any teenagers that need some extra cash this summer, I've got plenty of chores that I need help with.
You need some help.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. There's some work for you. But y'all do a lot. Y'all, the animals, people don't, unless I grew up on a farm. And so the only livestock we had were hogs. Mm-hmm. But, and my brother, when I talk about working with the hogs, he'll laugh because he's like, "Yeah, LaVern, you did nothing." But, because that's been his life, his entire life. Yeah. And and then my husband grew up with horses, big Belgians. Mm-hmm. So he knows horses. And he loves the life. He loves that. That's always been his dream, is if we could have a couple of Belgians, because he loves those big, giant, big boys. But because his family pulled Belgians for years up at the fair, and then they also were involved in the harness racing. His dad worked with the harness racing, and so that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because where are we going today?
We're going to Oak Grove, Kentucky.
Okay.
So the harness race, it's called standardbreds, and that's why they bring us out, because that's Safe Harbors originally started off doing all kinds of animals, then eventually broke it down to just horses. And now we're bringing it down even more so we're trying to focus purely on standardbreds. And standardbred horses are the horses that you're going to see pulling the carts in harness racing.
Okay.
For those who don't know what harness racing is, it's the horses are going at a trot. It's kind of like watching NASCAR, but with a horse. So you literally have a pace. It starts off with like a little pace car. It's got a little gate. Pace car will pull out, get ahead once they all get lined up. Once all the horses lined up, the pace car, you'll get an opportunity to actually ride the pace car today.
Oh, my husband's so excited.
You actually go get inside the pace car and watch that. So as they'll ride at a speed, which allows the drivers is what they call them for the jockeys in harness racing. They'll get the horses up to speed right behind, and once the starter feels that they're good to go, he'll kind of kick another gear, drive forward, close the gate, horses go around. It's a little bit longer of a track than thoroughbred racing. Usually they're like 1.5 mile races, and it's at a trot. So if they turn into a gallop, they can actually get fined. So there's a lot of rules and there's a lot more rules to harness racing. Like they're not allowed to go rub and paint because they've had there's a lot of fatalities.
What?
rub paint like you would in NASCAR.
Oh.
You know? So there's it's pretty tight. It's a lot of talent, a lot of skill. I grew up in it. My very first job was at a track up in Old Orchard Beach, Maine.
Okay.
That was my first job. I remember busting tables. I'd take my tip money and run over to the betting counter and make a bet. You know, at 16 years old. My stepdad was he was a track manager. He used to work at Yonkers and all the big tracks in New York, and he was the one that just kind of gave me a passion for, you know, racing and horses, and not so much like for horses like on her end, but horses for the, you know, standardbred racing, thoroughbred racing. Yeah, it was pretty cool. He taught me a lot. Cool. So I'm gonna have fun today. I'll have fun. I'll try to teach you all a little something.
Well, I mean, I'm absolutely. We did not have horses. Whenever I was a very, very young kid, we were a dairy. And we switched from a dairy to hog production. My dad was really good at looking down the road and saying, okay, this market's not going to be doing well in 5 years. We need to switch over. And that's what he did, and switched to hogs at the perfect time. We were hog production in the 70s when you could make money. And then when the factory farms started exploding, they got out of hog production. But Daddy would not, he was like, we're not wasting cropland on pasture. And so when I got to the age where I would have liked to have been involved with horses, we were into hogs and all that. So I had some cousins that had horses. So I've always had a curiosity about them. And so, but horse racing now, again, I'm from Kentucky. You would think I'd know a little bit about it. I know nothing.
Oh, you're going to see a lot of you'll see a lot of beautiful horses today. And you can chime in whenever you're ready to on this one. So what we do is, so the horses that you're going to see today in the racing, those are our future fosters. So what happens is these horses they'll raise. So that's their only purpose in life. If they get to a point where they start to slow down a little bit, the owners will sell them off to, say, like the Amish. Will sell them off to somebody. Because for these owners, you know, they may have a stable where they have 10, 12, 20 horses. And if the horse isn't really producing, you know, having top 3 finishes, okay, well, what am I doing here? You know, so they'll sell that horse, like say something like the Amish or something like that, and the Amish will get them, and they'll kind of use them up to the point to where they can't use them anymore, and they eventually sell them off to kill pens or an auction. And in the auction, right, they'll sell them off to auctions, and the people at the auctions are people working within kill pens. A lot of times.
So there's a percentage of them of standardbreds. It's a high number of standardbreds that are actually end up in the slaughter pipeline. But what we're trying to do with our organization is building that relationship with Oak Grove. So this will be our second time going, to where the hopes of is that they would donate their horses for a tax write-off to organization, or maybe sell them at a reasonable price, and then we can help rehome them. And then the main goal, and then maybe also building a relationship with the Amish community in Kentucky to where we can buy the horses directly from them. The main goal is to keep them from sales barns where they either be traded around with horse traders or they end up with kill buyers.
Okay. So is this up in the area, is that an Amish community, or is it?
Oh, man, we get them from Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, Pennsylvania. The Mennonites, basically it's the Mennonites and Amish community all over. Yeah. Matter of fact, Ben, what's his real name?
Native Speed.
Native Speed. We're calling him Ben. It's a lot easier to say. Native Speed is fostering. It's kind of cool. He's from Maine.
Okay.
He was from a farm in Maine.
And he's Amish.
Eventually, yeah, he was.
Well, see, we have a lot of Mennonites in my area.
Right.
Where I'm from up in.
So Native Speed was owned by a farm in Maine.
Okay.
And their primary place they raced was Old Orchard, a track I worked at as a kid. He ran he ran his course as far as he did his time running the track. Time to retire him as far as running, because it's kind of like the same with standardbred. They don't run to their it's like thoroughbred. It's age. So today you're going to see a bunch of 3-year-olds, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, and then they'll have a senior, which is like 7 and older. So once they get to basically like 10, they're retired.
Wow. Okay.
It's a younger horse's game, I guess. You know?
Guess. Okay.
So it's like you're not going to see too many 50-year-olds playing NFL. Right. All right. So it's kind of the same thing. So there's basically putting them out. They're taking them out of racing. Basically, if you put horse years to human years, basically they'd be like equivalent of like a 35-year-old.
Okay.
Okay. Once they hit that point, they're no good to the owners as far as the racing because they can't compete against the younger horses. So even though they have that senior league, that 13, 14-year-old horse can't keep up. So they'll sell them to the Amish. The Amish will get them, and they'll use them. Now, why the Amish love them and why they make really good pets for, like, say you and I, if you want to foster or adopt one, is that they're already so used to being handled. Thoroughbreds are wild. If you want to watch some craziness, watch a thoroughbred as they're trying to put them on the stalls before a race.
They're a lot of energy.
A lot of energy.
Yeah.
No, it's great. No, people get hurt when they're loaded. Like you watch the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont, or any of this thoroughbred racing. That's one of the most dangerous aspects is getting them loaded into the chute. That's a very dangerous process loading them up. But where standardbreds are nice, because standardbreds are so used to having a purpose and trotting. They're not. They're already used
around them.
Yeah.
So where the Amish communities are really like them is they're already used to driving. They know how to drive. And then where they make good homes also with the Amish is they're on the road, so they've seen that they've done it. And there's this term called bomb-proof, to where they're safe horses to be around, to where they're kind of used to all the commotion. Like my standardbred Bosco, I have to use my voice to get him to move if I'm trying to use the tractor to move a hay bale or something, because he's just other horses kind of, what's the big loud noise and the big green machine coming at me.
Bosco's like, whatever.
Bosco's just like, whatever, and he doesn't really get spooked by a whole lot of anything or nothing, I guess.
Yeah, even things like putting a halter on him and moving him from a spot like Ben.
So
Ben's easy as heck because he's so used to being pulled around from a trailer into the paddock and being hooked up and all that. They're very user friendly.
And one funny thing about native speed is now I'm on crutches and a scooter. So I'm out there and I'm making all kinds of noise trying to get out there and loosen my balance and falling over on stuff. And the mare that he's with now is kind of like, that scooter's going to eat me. And she was kind of nervous about it, but Ben could care less.
Yeah.
So he's used to the commotion. So they're good family pets.
Right.
What all they've seen and done. So by the time that they're just really about done is about 15 or so. So Ben's 15. And he spent, about 5 years of his life racing. And then he was sold from, that owner's home to a friend, to another family member. We can kind of speculate. We just know by records of like his racing history and things like that. And one thing that was kind of beautiful was when the rescue organization came across Native Speed Ben. We keep using different names. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
We were able to.
I thought Ben was a person for a minute. I got confused. But anyway, go ahead.
Able to. They get freeze brands on their neck, and we were able to run that tattoo in the Standardbred Trotting Association database to find his owners and to find his racing history. So I'll have to show that to you today.
Okay.
And so we were able to get a hold of his owners, and they were appalled by the condition that he had ended up in because they sold him to a friend. Horses live an average of 30 years, so the chances of them staying with one owner is pretty slim.
Right.
I mean, I don't know the numbers of that, but it happens, Mm-hmm. So they actually helped with his transportation expenses, and I think it was probably his first month's care. So that was it was a beautiful thing that they helped out with that.
So this is there's an aspect of is it Safe Harbor or your farm that's getting a
Safe Harbor.
Safe Harbor's getting a money gifted to them today. There's a donation being made.
Safe Harbor.
So this is like a presentation. You guys y'all messaged us last week and said, "Hey, y'all want to go to this thing?" And my husband's like, "Yes."
So what?
It's horses.
So here's what the organization actually does. We identify the horse. We then try to identify a foster farm, whether it be, you got some of this guy. All they have to have is a lean-to, water source where they can, water them, and we will pay for the farrier, Safe Harbor, and this is where all this donation money is going to go to. The farriers, the people that work on the hooves, the shoes, and the clippings, clipping their hooves. So the farrier, the vet, feed. What am I missing?
Hay feed. Yeah, I guess feed and hay.
Well, we will help. We will pay for that, so no cost to the foster people. So it's kind of like just fostering a child. Yeah. Where if you foster a child, that the government will pay that foster family money for upkeep of that child. So it's pretty much the same thing that we do, and that's why we try to raise money. We're also trying to raise awareness as far as trying to find foster farms. The more foster farms we can get, the more horses we can save.
Yeah.
So we do have some farms that have at times fostering 2 to 3 horses. So if it's obviously it's radio, it's kind of hard to really show the pictures, but I can show you pictures of what Ben and Bosco and some of these other horses have looked like. She's the horse person. I'm really not. Even though I am now officially the head ranch hand, right? That's what actually they put that out on the Safe Harbor website. It's kind of funny.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Yeah. I'm like the rip of the organization. But anyway,
that's funny. Ranch hand.
Yeah, I'm the head ranch hand. What was I saying? So you look. By the time when we get them, we identify horses that are like very emaciated, very really rough shape. So we'll get those, get them in, bring them to the foster, and we'll work with them almost up to a minimum a year, right? Am I that about right? Because it takes about a year to get these horses back to health where they need to be. So meanwhile, we're investing a ton of money into the vets, ton of money into the feed. Mm-hmm. I mean, because they need a lot of weight put back on. I mean, Ben, we're still trying to put weight back on Ben. Whether it be alfalfa. Alfalfa weighs a lot more. It costs a lot more than hay. And then you start going to the pellets, the cubes,
all kinds of details.
Yeah, just all kinds, all different medicines. I mean, man, you want to talk about making you pucker? Is look at what it costs sometimes with some of these horses. If there's a lot of medical needs, it gets really pricey. So Safe Harbor covers all that. So part of come on the radio is look, if you're out there listening and you got some pasture and maybe you've had horses, or if you got an empty stall, or you got enough room for one more horse, just foster, man. We will help pay for that, offset the cost for you.
Yeah.
Then with this being a nonprofit, you can also use this as tax write-offs.
Yep, you can use it as a tax write-off. And then
if you want to donate to cover, any of that stuff, or it's a tax.
Yeah, and then once we get the horse up to health where it needs to be, then we start trying to identify folks that want to adopt. Adoption can range from really reasonable
to 2,000.
To 2,000, just depends on the horse, the quality of horse. If generally too, they're all fixed. Everybody's
we're not adopting.
Yeah, we're not a stud farm.
Yeah.
So on that note, we have a separate funding that we use called Charlie's Fund that we use to help with castrating stallions or vet emergencies, helping with euthanasia, putting them down if that's what's best for the animal. Yeah. So
okay, and I mean, and it's like we've talked a lot about my place, because my place could be made adaptable for horses pretty quickly. It's just.
Think about the picture back there.
I know. I'm seeing you, Christy. I know. I honestly.
Teasing me.
That's we're not saying no, just not right now. Not right at this moment.
You don't have to have a fancy farm. You don't have to have like this big old fancy place. It could be something as simple as a lean-to, just a place where they can come, where they get out of the weather.
Trees, trees or shelter.
Well, see, we've got the as you come down our place, we've got this grassy area over here to the left that would be beautifully fenced, and we could put like some kind of a small shelter in the woods right there. That would be picturesque. I mean, we've got our big barn, but our big barn's got concrete. I mean, it was a warehouse for our roofing company. So it got repurposed. So it's not really, could it be, there's one section of it that could be readapted, but then there's it would be kind of hard to configure it over there. But I mean, it's something that we both have talked about because he loves horses so much. Just not at this moment, but it's something that's in our mind.
And that's the other aspect to Safe Harbors too. I always encourage folks like you and Mark, where hey, we're not ready to get our own horses, foster our own horses now. So there's different aspects we're always trying to recruit for, and one of them is volunteers.
Yeah,
to go out to the different the foster farms, and help the people that own the farm.
Like me,
like Christy right now, really needs some help because she's got a broken foot.
I mean, luckily right now I'm on break with football.
Yeah.
But once we get back off of our break, I'm only back coaching
dead
football
period.
again. Yeah, once we're done with the dead period, I'm back coaching again. So and I got to be there.
Yeah.
So she could probably use a little help in the evenings.
And I did. I sent out a bat signal to all of our volunteers, and I just don't have a whole lot yet in the Robeson County area. Most of my volunteers are Nashville, Sumner County. So
this seems to be a really tough period in Robeson County where everybody's in that. If a lot of people are in vacation mode, I mean, people are just so scattered right now. Trying to get a hold of anybody right now has just been. I think this is kind of like that. Like you said, it's the dead period for sports, and kids are trying to spend some coming up on 4th of July, and everybody builds vacations around. So it's just one of those things that it's really hard to pin people down. So guys, if you've got, I mean, could this count as volunteer hours toward their Tennessee Promise?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And so I do get a lot of that. I do get a lot of high school students or college students that need that. And then I also get individuals that need community service for whatever reason by court cases and things like that. So
one other thing, I try to reach out. I'm trying to plug in with like our FFA classes at my high school, and any schools out there that have an FFA program. I teach DECA at DECA FBLA, which is for business. And all these school organizations are supposed to be doing work with nonprofits. That's pretty much the code for every school-based program. And this is a great opportunity. A lot of kids in FFA, not a lot of the FFAs, they'll do more like, hamsters, rabbits, stuff like that. But some of these kids are in these programs, they may want to get some really good experience with horses and cows and stuff like that. So at our house, you pretty much got lucky. You named large animals, we got it. Because aside from the horses, we also got a couple cows. We got goats, sheep. So we got pretty much the whole gambit for large animals.
Yeah, I brought my grandson out there. He loved it.
It's like the 12 days.
Yeah, I made a song for her too.
Yeah.
It was pretty cute.
That's fun.
Yeah, like a single rabbit.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I love what you guys do, and I love your heart and your passion for all that you do, because that's the thing. From we started talking about military, then CR, and then Safe Harbor, and all the things that y'all have going on. You have the things you're involved in. You have a passion for all of them, and it's very apparent. And I need to pause. Let's do a break. I've been sitting here. I've been texting my friend Julie Bernard over at Bernard Farms Custom Cuts and Market. I got to tell you, I love her. She's so fun to talk to. I love her and Steve, and I talk about them being my farm heroes, because they're a family farm that they've got little boys coming along. How are they going to make a living on the farm as farming gets tougher and tougher? Well, that's why they diversified, and they opened up Bernard Farms Custom Cuts and Market, and they do it all. Their meat case is like a work of art. We've been in there a couple of times here in just the last few weeks. We went in there, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. We went in there and had lunch with them. We've gone in there for breakfast, but we've gone in there for lunch, and they have this pork burger that is the best. It is so good. It is delicious. And I was looking on there yesterday. They were open on Sunday, promoting their pork ribeyes. Oh my goodness. Just all this good stuff. And it's just the best quality that you can get, raised right there on their farm. They take care of all the processing. You cannot beat the quality of meat that you're going to find there. And I said, what's your focus this week? She says they're cutting beef tomorrow on Tuesday, and it goes fast. So it takes her 2 days to cut the whole cow, and they'll have cuts going in the fresh case all day Tuesday, and then they will do their ground beef on Wednesday. And she says it just gets snatched up. So their beef does not stick around long at all, guys. So Tuesday is when you're going to start having the fresh cuts in the case, and then the ground beef on Wednesday. If you want to get in on this, you better make sure you've got it on your schedule to get out there, because it will go very fast. Also, fresh vegetables. We were out there, again, I think it was on Thursday, and they had just brought in some broccoli. And while we were waiting on our pork burgers to cook, my husband sat there and ate a whole crown of raw broccoli. I mean, it's just so fresh and so good. Everything in that store, you're going to have a great time. And you're just going, it's that country feel where you go in and you just get to visit. And it's just that down home kind of feel. I was also checking out, we were talking, very concerned about being able to harvest the wheat. They did get some wheat harvesting done this weekend. So yay, that's great news, because man, the farmers had to get the wheat out of the field before they lost the production on it. So that's awesome news. But again, go in and talk to Julie and Steve Bernard at Bernard Farms Custom Cuts and Market. Beef being cut today, and it'll be in the fresh case tomorrow. Ground beef on Wednesday, and again, all the other things that they have in their frozen case. Just beautiful cuts and beautiful things for you to feed your family and maybe put on the grill this summer. Hang on a second. What?
Where are they located?
They are at 7336 Clay Gregory Road in Orlinda. And you can reach out to them if you want to call them, 615-637-0004. That's 637-0004. Just stop in. Again, it's 7536 Clay Gregory Road in Orlinda. And you're going to love it. Tell them U-Turn sent you. All right, guys, where are we going with the conversation at this point? You look like you had something on your mind there, Matt, and then I cut you off.
I was loving your advertisement because I am such a huge fan of shopping local.
Yes.
And the quality.
Turn that mic down just a little bit, if you don't mind. Yeah, there you go.
The quality of the meat from the local farms, but even the produce.
Yes.
I don't know the exact amount of hours, but one day I was sitting in traffic in Nashville and I was behind this truck that had bags of potatoes on them. Mm-hmm. And that truck is just sitting in the heat. I'm thinking, how long is just one bag of potatoes, the process of it all? And then by the time my son had oranges and he's like, I just bought these oranges and they're already bad. And I was like, they've spent weeks and months just traveling to you.
Yep.
I don't know the exact time frame. Fact check me if you want, but just going to a local shop, like the place in Orlando that you talked about. There's a place off 25 Hancock Farms, I think, that you go to, and just getting local produce, local meat, like ZK Ranch is another one too. Like there's just multiple places within the county there that's like, what was that place called again?
It is Bernard Farms Custom Cuts and Market. And as far as I know, I don't know of any others that they're growing their meat selections and they're processing it. And I mean, it's like true farm to table.
Yeah, 100%.
With Bernard Farms as far as their meats and stuff go. And like we were in there and they had, the broccoli right out of the garden and the kids. I mean, it's just, and I love the way the kids are involved and it's just the best. It is
love it.
I do too.
So
I
didn't know that
absolutely
was
love
there.
it. They're so cool. But yeah, it's a neat place. It's a neat place, but you'll love it. But anyway, so thank you for reinforcing that for us. And where do we want to go from here, guys?
So from here, so for folks that may be interested in Safe Harbor, you go to safeharborhorses.org.
Okay.
Is the website, safeharborhorses.org. And on there, you can see what we're all about. We do clearly state that we are really focusing now on standard breds.
Okay.
There's a little, like I'm looking at my phone right now, bring it up, and there's a little tab you can click. It says join us for volunteer. You join us to become a foster. You can just sign up for the email. Any events that we have coming on are coming up. Like right now, Friday, July 18th, 4 to 8 p.m., Panera Bread in Hendersonville. We do a little fundraiser Friday. Any events that we have, like 18th. Yep.
That's okay.
Sorry, I was trying
You're
to
fun.
put the website on there.
So on the site, it also has a picture of the horses that we right now currently have in the foster system. So it has a picture of a couple of the horses. They're now at their point, if you're interested in adopting.
Really good.
And at the very bottom has, do you want to help? Look, it's kind of like tithing. When I preach about tithing is more than just giving money. Okay. It's 10% of everything. That means 10% of your time. So maybe if you don't have much money that you can help donate money to, give 10% of your time to help out with the horses as a volunteer. Or maybe you don't have the time because you are working, you're making a lot of money. Hey, donate some money.
Yeah.
We view this, for her and I view this as a mission field.
Right.
Okay. This is a mission. Yes, we are saving horses, and there's semantics whether it's a Christian ministry saving a horse or not. My wife will definitely argue 1,000 ways that it is. Some folks
God's
may
creation.
not. But we do more. We don't just focus just on the horses. We do believe, and again, it is a non-Christian organization. Okay. But we are very open about our faith, and we don't hide that at all. So it's a great opportunity to really help out folks that just need something. So there is the human aspect of it as well. I'll do counseling because I just still do my Christian counseling. I'll do counseling out there at the house every now and then with somebody. Just being out there around the horse and just combing or grooming the horse It's very calming. It's very, people will open up real easy. The horses pick up on your energy and emotion. And I've seen it firsthand. Like if I'm tense or cranky or something like that, which somebody tells me it's been a lot lately, the horses will pick up on that. But if I'm calm, the horses are calm. And even if you're in a bad mood, sometimes the horses will have a way of getting that bad mood out of you. We have one, Henry, will come up to you and he'll just kind of like start nuzzling on you a little bit, and he just loves to be pet, like underneath here on his chin, and
it's like they're just like I have a horse that lives in my house. He's a Great Dane, but he's just like in your face all the time.
And that's kind of what.
They're beautiful horses.
That's what some of these guys are like sometimes. So you can go to the Safe Harbor site on there. So again, that's safeharborhorses.org. It does have our email on there. It has the phone number to contact. So yeah, it's a lot of good. There's a lot of small organizations like this. We're trying to. That's why we're trying. We'd like to be the larger one in the Tennessee, Kentucky area for standardbreds.
Yeah.
We like to be the leader in that one. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I hate to say I got kind of roped into this. I got wrangled into it.
Fun.
But, her energy and her passion is what has drawn me to it. Honestly, I'd still rather have a motorcycle. I don't have to chase it, don't have to feed it. But hey, her passion.
Mind of its own.
Yeah, Like, as she was working on her master's degree, her capstone paper was about the kill pens and the transporting and all the bad stuff. And I don't know about, she'll attest. I was getting just as fired up. I'm like, we need to do this and this, and it's like move out of the way. I'm like, kick her out of the way. I'm typing. I'm like, what do I need to, I was getting fired up for it, feeding off her passion for it. You don't realize, some of the things that in the rules and regulations and laws. So again, Carrie Roberts, if you're listening, Bill Lee, if you're listening. We have
Sabi Kumar.
Sabi, please, if you're out there listening, we have got to focus. Like, to me, I'm sorry, I cannot stand the fact that horses are still only they're the way we classify them. We classify them as livestock, so the requirements for their care is so ridiculous compared to, say, a dog or a cat. You see somebody maltreating a dog or a cat, you can call the cops, and there's somebody that they can actually go after these
Animal
owners.
Cruelty and stuff.
But with the horses, because they only have to have the basics. But meanwhile, these horses will be just so malnourished. I mean, if you can start to see a horse's ribs, that's a problem. That is not good. But by the letter of the law, the way it is, because they're livestock. Sorry, it just really ticked me off. It's like this is unreal. We need to change the regulate the laws on it. The classification.
Well, because so many people do bring them in as pets, and then they don't take care of them, and we see it all around us.
We don't use them as livestock anymore. Right. They were not. Now, 100 years ago, yes. I kind of joke. I think about, not really joke, but we talk about when where I'm from. That was your mode of transportation. Well, everywhere was a mode of transportation. But people in cities, like in Boston and stuff like that, a lot of these homes you had a garage, but your garage was like a detached barn right next to the house, and you'd have one or two stalls, and it was for.
What'd you do?
So I kicked something.
No, you're fine. It's what my drink bottle. I was like, no, you're fine. It was just my wallet. It was sealed. It's fine. It's good.
I know you and I talk about someday I'd like to run for office, and that would be one of the things, if I ever do within the state, I'd want to change our state laws. Now they've tried it federally. It's not going to go anywhere federally. It's because, and I know that kind of gets her fired up. But the problem with making that a federal law is, somebody in Maine or I don't know, New York or California, it's the states that don't have a lot of farming or pasture, stuff like that.
Right.
It's low hanging. It's a low priority for them. But then you get states like Kentucky, Tennessee, maybe Alabama, some of this, Oklahoma, Arkansas, stuff like the states that have ranches and have you have more horses as pets, I guess you want to call it. Yeah, it's important for them, but it's a low priority for all these other states that don't, say like in Oregon or Washington or something like that. So that, to me, this is one of those laws that has to happen at the state level, And because the 10th Amendment allows that, so I don't see why in Tennessee we cannot change the law to say, okay, in the state of Tennessee, horses will be deemed as a domestic pet than a livestock, and that would change. That would be a game changer. I'm not going to say it's going to would put Safe Harbor out of business, because you're still going to have people that are going to malnourish. We can still rescue those as well too. But it would dramatically change the welfare of a lot of these horses. Again, so she's the horse person, the horse whisperer, whatever you want to call it. Me, I'm still a human. I just cannot stand maltreating of any kind of any of God's creatures.
Yeah.
And when you go by, I'll be driving by a house somewhere, and somebody have a horse out in their field, and I'm looking at, like, there's absolutely no grass, nothing but weeds. I'm not seeing a place where, I'll see maybe a hay pile that's basically molded in there, hardly anything, and then I see a horse with its ribs showing. I'll be calling, hey, there's this horse,
So if you do see that, your first call needs to be your county sheriff's office, and then they need to get involved. Then they get the state agriculture department involved. Please don't go on the property. It's sad, but please don't go on the property and give any food or water. Call local authorities. Don't trespass.
Yeah.
If you call us up, we're going to call local authorities.
Yeah, and because some of that too is if somebody does have a horse that looks a little emaciated, they could have just recently adopted. They could be trying to put some weight back on.
Like, I've had horses on our property. We struggle with weight and things like that, or we have had horses on fosters that,
and people would be like, "Look,
speed look like." But
so, and that's the reason for she's saying that.
The thing to do is first, if it's possible, talk to your neighbor, talk to the person, like, "Hey, is there anything I could do to help?" And some of it's pride, some of it's health. Some
of it's maybe they got them. Like you said, horses live a long time. They live a very long life. It's not like a dog that's going to be max 15 years. A horse can live up to well over 30. Yeah, we got 3 that are already in their 30s or pushing 30. How old are they all now? I'm losing track.
Kira's 31. Bosco and Katie are 29.
Okay, and they could still have a good couple of years. They're healthy horses. We take care of them. They could go quite a while longer. Yeah, so they can go to between 30, 35. Maybe upwards of 40. So that's a long time for a pet. So where I'm going with this, I'll land the plane on it, is you could have somebody elderly. Maybe they got them at 50 in their 50s. Maybe they got a not a pony, but what do you call them? Baby horse, foal. Maybe they got them as a foal, and if they've gotten older, they may not be able to take care of as much anymore.
Right.
Matter of fact, we just picked up a horse. I just picked up a horse Friday to transport to one of our foster places. And that's the other thing too. If you adopt a horse and something happens in your life that you just can't take care of this horse anymore,
lifetime safety net.
Yeah, it's like a buyback guarantee. We will come back and take the horse from you so we can find another home for it. So I picked up a horse Friday. The family, their eldest daughter is off at college. Their other one's a junior, going to be getting ready to go to school. Husband works, and the wife is going back to nursing school. So they just haven't had the time to really care for this horse the way they feel they should. So they hated it because they were crying as we were picking them up. They were really sad to do it, but they were being responsible enough to say, "Hey, let's do this. This was best for the horse."
Yeah.
That if we hang on to it, we're not going to.
And we appreciate that so much. The responsibility of asking for help. And it's hard asking for help. So I mentioned Charlie's Fund. We do fundraisers where we can help people out with like if someone's lost a job, with feed for a couple months, helping with vet bills and things of that nature. So just ask.
So you don't have a horse that has to be fostered. You can help them keep, that
we
kind of
can
thing.
help a little bit with feed and things like that during a hardship of someone's life.
Okay. Let's pause. I'm going to do another break here. We are talking with Matt and Christy Driscoll. They are talking about Safe Harbor Sanctuary and also their farm, which is, again, Winds of Grace. Winds of Grace. And we're going to Oak Grove today. They invited my husband and I to go with them this afternoon. There's going to be a donation presented to Safe Harbor and for a chance for us to see the horses as they're talking about with the harness racing. And those are the horses that end up in this foster program with Safe Harbor. That's something my husband and I, and we really it's on our bucket list to do. We just can't do it at this moment, but it's definitely something that I think a lot of people would be interested in if they were just knew about it. So that's why we want to make you aware that if you've got some acreage that you could foster a horse, then they need to talk to you and they'll help you out with it. It won't be something that my husband always, we talk about getting horses. He says, well, just put a bucket by the door and drop $100 in it every time you walk in the door. That's not what this is. This is, fostering them, and then through the nonprofit, they're going to cover the cost on it. They just need a place, a pasture, and a shelter that we can, help these animals get back on their feet, basically. Let's talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Barry's my go-to when it comes to real estate questions. So my husband and I, we were, I don't know, somehow or another, I don't know what it was that got the conversation started. This weekend, there was a big password breach with, I think, Instagram and Facebook and Apple, I think, were the main ones. And they had this big password breach. And so my techie boys, change your passwords. We get this alert out on our family email. And then so my husband and I started talking about password protections and password key things and all that. And then he said, we really need to look into this title lock thing. He goes, that really concerns me. He says, you hear all about these people that will steal your home title. And I was like, is that even really a thing? Sometimes you'll hear advertising and you think, is that something that's really a thing? So I messaged Barry. I said, what about this title lock, insurance? Is that something we should invest in? And here is Barry's response. And I did not know this. And this is, again, why you reach out to realtors. He says, you can get that for free on the Robertson County Register of Deeds website. They have a link, Prevent Property Fraud, by signing up for My Land Alert, which is a free service that includes monitoring, free notification, no contract, and email privacy. You can sign up at mylandalert.com. You don't have to pay for it, guys, but it is something you need to look into. And so, again, that's the kind of thing that I love being able to talk to Barry and Rebecca about anything that comes up in real estate. I'm not necessarily somebody that's looking to buy or sell, but I did want to know what kind of equity I had in my property. They'll do a free analysis for you. So if I ever want to take out an equity loan, I know kind of what I can work with and what I can expect, the expectations of it. I have them keeping an eye on the property at the top of the hill from us to see if we can ever have an opportunity to buy some acreage at the top of the hill of the property we own. So we'll have some road frontage up there because I have one of my boys that's interested in building on our property, but doesn't want to necessarily build right next to me. He doesn't want to be that close of a neighbor to his mommy. I can't imagine why. But anyway, those kinds of things are real estate questions that you can ask Barry and Rebecca Richards. You can reach out to them at sellwithbecky.com or buy, B-U-Y, RobertsonCounty.com. BUY, They have their offices here. She has an agency office in White House. He has the brokerage office here in Springfield, and they combine those two to bring you a new branch in the Exit tree. They've been with Exit from the very get-go, but they are now Exit Prime Realty rather than the Garden Gate team, but they're all still part of the same great team. You can give Rebecca a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. You want to be mentored into being a realtor, they can help you with that as well. Just reach out to them. Any of the crazy questions you have, like me, about real estate, they will help you out no matter what. And when you do talk to them, always let our advertisers know that you turn sunshine. Okay, guys, we got 8 minutes. What do we got to talk about?
So as you're doing your ad, Christy was like, hey, what do we want to talk about? And for me, it's like, so I want to hammer on. We talk about clean harbors or not.
Safe harbor.
We talk about Celebrate Recovery a ton, but I want to say kind of what got us really started. I don't think we really would have gotten into this if it wasn't for our time within Celebrate Recovery, as far as the safe harbor stuff. One of the things we talk about in the recovery is the step 12, which is the giving back portion of it. It's amazing when you get into like a ministry like Celebrate Recovery and you start working in recovery and you realize that you live your life so selfishly for so long in so many areas, and people go on, like, I know you like to pride us for the things that we do, and I appreciate it, but really we do the things that we do because it's just the right thing to do, and it's like we don't live selfishly anymore. And that's kind of what Celebrate Recovery kind of helps you do, is you start to see that, wow, a lot of the things I struggle with, a lot of things I worry about, or things that hold me back in life. Because again, Celebrate Recovery is not just about addictions; it's about life in general. I come here all the time with you, and I talk about I'm not an alcoholic anymore, but I'm someone that struggles with depression, anxiety, and such. Christy didn't have an addiction problem. Her problem was she had bad judgment in men. Hence me.
A thing we call codependency.
Yes.
Codependency.
Yeah.
But I think what you'll find is folks that really start buying into the Celebrate Recovery model, because we are Christ-centered, and part of the Bible says, is to make sure you're giving back to everything.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that part we've taken some of our passion that we had for Celebrate Recovery, we're able to pour it into ministries like this. You could be, maybe animals aren't your thing. Next thing you know, you're at Celebrate Recovery and you're pouring in, and now you're starting a car ministry, you're starting a baking ministry, you're starting something. It makes you want to continue to give back more and more. If not for Celebrate Recovery, I would not want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
I would not want to be coaching the football.
Right.
Look, I'm a huge football fan. I always love it, but I enjoy it for the aspect that I'm able to pour into these kids. I'm in a town. I teach in a town that's very low income. I grew up like that. You know my story. So for me, being in a community like Ashland City, that where a lot of these kids don't have dads. They're single families, or their parents, if they have the parents, there's a lot of issues there. Mom or dad are drug addicts or alcoholics or something. The home life isn't perfect. But if not for Celebrate Recovery, I don't think I would be doing the things that I'm doing today.
Oh, I agree. Me too. A lot of things. Yep.
So it's just amazing. You start seeing life through a different lens. So I encourage you, hey, if that's you out there and you're feeling kind of like, okay, my life, I think every human wants to have a purpose. We all have our mission fields that God calls us to. And maybe you can't quite figure out what your mission field is, and you're feeling like you're kind of like on that hamster wheel of life. Come check out Celebrate Recovery. Because we can help. You don't know why you're a hot mess. We'll kind of help show you why you're a hot mess.
Yeah.
And that's what that's the beautiful part about it. Honestly, like I said, both of us, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but we both, a lot of the passion that we gained for life and gained over the past several years, after coming to Celebrate Recovery, it bleeds into every other aspect of our life. Yeah. The things that she does at work. She never thought about being like the SAR, which is a sexual advocacy person on base. She has a passion for that, for working with women that maybe been assaulted or abused and stuff like that. That increases your passion.
Yeah.
It's things like Celebrate Recovery that get you out of that denial of really being selfish. Because a lot of our struggles that we have is from a selfish nature. And the enemy loves it to where we're like self-deprecating and beating ourselves up and stuff like that. And that's kind of a selfish feeling, selfish emotion.
Yep.
So yeah, if that's what Celebrate Recovery is about. It's not about an addict. It's about getting a better relationship with Jesus. It's about getting right and just realizing, again, it's all about step 12. Where step 12 it's just so much more than just coming and making coffee. It's about finding other areas. Like the two of us, people fuss at us all the time about we do a lot. The thing is, like, you start getting to a certain point, you start feeling complacent or whatever, you got to kick it up a notch. Well, instead of sitting around binge watching a show, why don't you get off your butt and go help out in a ministry? It's part of that 10%. Well, I can't do this because I don't have money. Well, you can volunteer 10% of your time.
Yeah.
Again, so maybe you're an introvert. I'll tell you what, you want to talk about the most introverted nerds, horse people sometimes, very introverted. They're not people.
Yeah.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not maybe your
closest friends are animals.
Yeah, maybe your gift is more with animals. Like I said, maybe it's with cars. It's with something. That's fine. But just if you're going to go out there and tinker
being able to communicate and build relationships through the gifts that God's given to you.
Yes.
I'm not fighting what those gifts are, but He made you the way that you are, the way that He made you.
Yeah.
And using those gifts to further His kingdom. So like for me, I'm very passionate about animals, helping animals, and I've been combining those worlds of helping broken people along at the same time helping broken animals through like equine assisted therapy and things like that. And so we're tying that in with Celebrate Recovery with CR, but that step 12 about giving back. And there's so much. It's one of the greatest steps of taking towards your healing is where you're focusing on helping others, especially helping others with something that you've overcame. Is tremendous in the recovery program.
Another thing, like a musician, like a lot of I know several musicians that maybe not necessarily be the greatest they're not heavy extroverts, but you get them behind the mic or get them behind a guitar, and they're going to go to town. And it's the same way with animals too.
I love it.
So, but come check out Celebrate Recovery. We meet every Tuesday, Epiphany Baptist at 6:30. We have dinner at 5:30. 211 First Avenue in Springfield. Again, it's 211 First Avenue, Springfield. We'd love to have you. Come check us out. And please go to the safeharborhorses.org website. Whether you can donate your time, whether you can donate money, whether you can donate some land to foster.
Any gift that you have.
Yeah, we will take
social media, TikToker.
We run this. This mission is solely run on volunteers and donations.
I love it. And there's a few things I've got to mention as we're heading out, and I'm looking forward. My husband's very excited about going to check out the horses today and be a part of this. So thank you guys for the invitation. But a couple of things I do need to tag in. You're talking about finding your purpose. There is a encounter weekend this weekend, Friday night and Saturday. It's going to be at the Restoring Hope Church it's Restoring Hope in Cross Plains, but it's from Redeem Her Now. It's Encounter Wholehearted. I'll put the contact on there, but it's up in our neighborhood. But again, it's about finding your purpose. So, I mean, if you're trying to find your purpose, this would be a really good opportunity to do that. Also want to remind you that you've got your self-guided garden tour from Martha Song this weekend on Saturday, so you can check that out. And we'll have somebody in from the garden tour on Thursday to talk a little bit more about that. But don't forget about that through Martha Song. And I went to see Little Shop of Horrors yesterday. Robertson County Players, they have got Little Shop of Horrors. You'll be able to go Friday and Saturday this week, but we'll be talking more about that. It was excellent. So much fun. One of my students, Tyler Monroe, was in it, star, and it was just so good. But all those wonderful things going on, Safe Harbor Sanctuary, Celebrate Recovery, all the things. We got so many good things happening here in Robertson County. We are blessed and highly favored. Thank you for being a part of what we have going on here at 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a wonderful day.
Sunday morning, I saw a crowd down at the creek on a little country farm. I thought I would move closer in that I might see and hear why they look so happy there